Hey everybody, I'd like to welcome you to a brand new series. I hope you enjoyed the look of this background here, because it's finally time for us to switch to a new game. And we're going with Woodle Adventures Deluxe. I didn't put Deluxe down there for one reason or the other, but it doesn't matter. It's not mandatory. So let's get the game going. You'll notice I removed the spook counter because obviously it's not necessary anymore, but we are going to add some fun stuff on top of it, and I added the Steam overlay as well, so now you can see any achievements that I get, so that way we can try to hunt them together. I hope the volume is okay. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to actually lower the volume a little bit on my own headphones because that's just a running trend with me at this point. And I've connected it to a PS4 controller because it recommends an Xbox controller, and I don't have an Xbox One. Do admire the background. This is an adorable game, by the way. I've read online that a lot of people look at this and they think that it's one of those games with hidden meanings maybe or something of the sort. But I assure you, sorry, my dog just jumped onto the beanbag over there. There's nothing weird about this game, and that's what makes it adorable. It's just a nice relaxing game that we could play to weed off of the spooky train. And get on with our days. I will skip this, but I just want you to get a chance to see what the background of the game's all about. And the music is gone. So let's get started. It's a game by Fabio Ferrara. Okay, so I have actually played this game in the past. Now mind you, I didn't actually mention, but we're going to replace that box with the spook counter with something that's ours. How are you, my little son? Just born from my roots. I give you life for a purpose. You have to bring water to this thirsty world. To do this, you'll have to collect fairy tears. It's said that picking up as many as you can, you'll even be able to discover a new world. Here, I'll show you one of them. Come and take it. It is so cute. And that there's the water that we're going to be collecting. Now before we get it, I just wanted to point out what we're going to be doing is we're going to reintroduce our timer again. I know I briefly touched on this in the last one, but we have that extra space and I figured we might as well use it. And so we're going to just get the water. This is the house I've built for you. From there you'll be able to travel across the land. Inside you'll also find 2 items that will be precious in your quest. Just look at that. Now I can't change the camera, I'm trying to. I can walk around, and the camera pans with me, so it's just one of those. We'll explore, but for now, we have a thing. It's a backpack. You can walk so much faster by jumping from the looks of it. And I just want to show you what's around here before we go into the house. So like I said, I've played this game before on the Switch, but it's been a little while and I don't remember it very well, but I do remember that it was incredibly easy. I think it's a little different from what I do remember though. I think I was told that there are some slight changes for the Steam version, but don't quote me on that. And yeah, it looks like there really isn't anything here. I think it will flesh out a little bit more as we play a little bit further into the game. With this rucksack you can collect the berries you'll find and eat them to survive. Upstairs you'll find the magic leaf. You can use it as a defense, pressing B or E to travel across the land, simply hitting the magical globes in the house. Now I don't have a B or an E. Oh, we have a run button, excuse me, I didn't even realize. On my controller, it happens to be the square button. And yeah, we've picked up our leaf. To use it, we just gotta press circle. I wish we could use a trigger button to do it, because it's... With the rucksack you can collect berries, you'll find them to survive. Upstairs you'll find a magic leaf. You can use it as defense by pressing B or E and travel across the land. So there's another button that does this. Well anyway, we got 2 jump buttons, 1 leaf button and 1 run button. And they're not placed particularly well on my controller, but we'll make do. Okay. And so it's basically a collectathon, as you might expect. It's one of those really old types of games, and I really do, I miss this type of genre. I feel we don't get enough of them anymore. It's not a hard game, and I believe that there's no real penalty for dying. You don't have lives in this game. You could jump off and I will eventually fall and you'll see what I mean. But it's just one of those experiences. There are a lot more enemies than I remember, so I do think it's a slightly different version. Maybe I didn't play the deluxe version, although I was quite sure I did. And the camera is a little notorious in this game as well. The controls feel a lot better than I thought they would. I'm gonna need to collect so many of these, by the way. It may not seem like it. It may not seem like it makes any sense to need to. Oh my goodness. Just a moment. Sorry about that, I got interrupted again, as is the usual. Well, actually, it tells you right here as well what the buttons I'm using are if you just map this onto an Xbox controller. So, look at that beautiful image of Woodle playing on an Xbox controller. It's so cute. We found our first little water droplet. Now, we're going to need to get quite a few more. I don't remember how many there are in every stage. I also don't know how to zoom out. What the heck is what's going on? How? Oh, okay. There we go. You can zoom in and out, but you can't turn the camera. That's some really interesting design. The sound effects that these things make is adorable. Now, mind you, I'm not going to be collecting everything, you know, like every single, whatever you call those things, tomatoes, I guess. I'm not going to be collecting every single one that I see, and that's what happens when you die. Specifically because, although, I mean, there should be a counter here to tell me how many I've gotten, maybe I'll see it at the end of it, there's a finite amount per level, but they also respawn when you come back into the level, so if you've ever played a game like Banjo-Kazooie or any other game where there's like a fixed number of something, well, this isn't one of them, right? So you can come back, and you're going to need to come back because you're going to need to buy things later in the game, and this is, I believe, the currency. Or, you know, maybe it's just what you need to unlock certain areas of the game. So maybe it is a little bit like Banjo-Kazooie, but notes in that game, and we will play that game one day in the future, I'm sure. Notes in that game do not respawn. Well, not to your total anyway. So that's where we went up last time. I'm not sure, I didn't explore very far down here. I shouldn't need to. Okay, let's just go back up. Nice and quick. I just love this. Alright. I feel like this game could use a little bit more information on the side. Kind of like how many berries I've captured. What the heck just hit me? These are here. I didn't recognize those before. Alright. I feel like I got hit by nothing there. It's really weird. Okay. And we're finding water. Let's just climb this tree. Impossible. I assure you this is a easier game than I'm making it seem to be, but the controls do leave a little to be desired. I would love to speedrun this game someday, if I could figure out what the best approach for that would be. There's a turtle. He didn't protect the water droplet very well. And we've got two. We're going to be watering the plants. We're going to show them what it means to be the son of the great Deku Tree. An elder of epic proportions. Oh my goodness. No! Ah, I just remember this. I had so much trouble with this when I was doing that on the Switch. I'm not sure if it was the controller or something. But that was smooth. That was nice. Quality platforming right there. Oh, there's our water droplet. I forgot what he named these. Did you just call it water? Must have had a name. That's not dramatic enough. And you have the elevator in case this part does prove to be too difficult for you. Oh, that's why this was difficult, because when you're underwater, partially submerged in the water, you don't jump as high. Or it could just be momentum. And it seems the dog is ready to escape. I'll be right back. As you might expect, I'm back. And we're continuing. Let's keep going. We gotta actually do well. We can't do worse than we did in Spooky. He says as he just about jumps off the cliff for the 700th time. And then I'll just meet you guys right back up there. Alright. So, So that happened. Hey everybody, it's me again. So you might not realize what happened, but partway through that last recording, things kind of went wrong. And basically, for whatever reason, my keyboard became the primary controller and I just couldn't get my actual controller to connect anymore. So for whatever reason, I wasn't able to move. I later got that fixed and resolved and continued on with the series, but for whatever reason, I lost the second half of that video. So right now I'm recording this after the entire game has been finished. And yeah, so this is basically being recorded after the final episode of the series, right? So you'll notice there's going to be a slight difference in the way I'm playing the game because I'm a little bit better now that I've had all the practice from all the other stages, and for reasons you'll find out a little bit later. But I figured it'd be good just to show you the end of the stage because that whole crash happened partway through the last bit. Do excuse the death there, it's not particularly important. But I will also take this opportunity to get all the berries that I could find. And mind you, yes, they're called berries, they're not apples or oranges or whatever I ended up calling them in the first episode. And also, the little water droplets are called fairy tears. So before you correct me, I'm going to let you know that for the remainder of the entire series, I'm going to be calling those water droplets water droplets. Not for any reason, I just had no idea they were called fairy tears. I know he said it in the cutscene and I completely glossed over that for no reason. Also, I know I could cut right now and just go back to where I stopped in the last episode, but I figured since this is post-production me and this is me after the end of the series, it would be nice to just go through the whole stage again. Because, well, that and also because it's more fun. For all of us, you get to see what it's like later down the line. And yeah, I'll avoid talking about the rest of the series just so that you don't get anything spoiled. But mind you, episode 2 is... I died to that guy in the exact same way I died in the first episode. Ironic. Because that never happened again after that. And I noticed there he also shot some kind of weird projectile when he died, so I'm not sure if that's normal. Or if it's just to him or if other enemies do it. To be honest, even at the end of the series I never ended up finding out that little bit of news. But it's not important. And so yes, all in good fun. Here we have this little army of just that just could not hit him for the life of me. And there, those are our last 2 fairy tears. You can actually see them right from here, which is the most interesting thing. I realize I'm a little bit tunnel visioned when I'm playing the game. I sit there and I see a couple of berries in front of me and that's it, but if you go to just a couple of areas you can see the whole stage. You can also zoom out as far as the game lets you and you'll also see the whole stage, so you'll know it. I'll be doing that a couple of times in the near future, hopefully. I do end up figuring out that that's a possibility. But yes, I'm happy to come back and re-record this part for everybody. It's a good stage, and I do have a lot of practice in it now as well, so there's no reason not to. And I think you all need to see it. Whoops, I don't know why I thought that was important. So yes, although I have practiced the stage, I haven't actually memorized it, because this is not the one I prioritized when it came down to running through all the stages. What is he talking about? You might be asking yourself, well, you know what? Perhaps you'll find out if you stay tuned. We already have all of the fairy tears. What am I doing? I don't even have to do anything extra. Let's just get on with the stage. We're already at the end. That's right. Spoilers ahoy. This is the end right here. And just for your knowledge, because I guess you've never seen the end of the stage, I take it back, this is not the end of the stage for 2 reasons. 1, I fell, and 2, I realized that's actually, I was confusing the stage with a completely different stage, so do excuse me on that one. But yes, I'll give you my little feedback. I think the game is wonderful, even though I finished it, so yeah, now you know. That's my spoiler. There's only 3 fairy tears per stage, by the way. And these little berries, they're not mandatory, but they are very recommended. A small part of me kind of feels like, why am I running around gathering all these extra berries that I don't need? Because, again, I've got all the berries. But I'm doing it for you guys, so I'm just going to go down here and show you where all the berries are. You don't need to know, but it never hurt to show you. We'll come right down here. That's basically the gist of it. I don't think I've missed any berries, and if I have, trust me, you will see them. You're going to get a very comprehensive and in-depth viewing of the stage in the future. I hope. It really depends on how I present the content. Please. I don't think I've explained this yet, and it's because I haven't fully rewatched the entire video. But the reason why I keep falling off every here and there is actually because of the way the momentum in this game was designed. And I think it was designed actually really nicely, but it's something that has a bit of a learning curve to it. It's not the same as conventional momentum in games. What I'm trying to say is that essentially, the momentum the game carries based on the direction you are going as soon as you jump, but it doesn't have a slowness factor, nor does it stop. So your mid-air mobility exists, but you have to control it very heavily. And if you let go of the analog stick, you do not slow down. You carry the same momentum all the way. And that's the end. I'm gonna cut it here. Hey everybody, we're currently in level 2. This is still post-production me. This is me of after the game's over, because the first episode involved both the first and the second stages. So really, to get here you just have to go to the hub world, and then a new portal would open up that lets you get into the second stage. So I figured, well, episode 2, which hopefully, well, as I noticed, was not corrupted, starts from the third stage, because the first episode is the one that lost the second half of its video. So here we are doing the second one again. I hope you guys don't mind having me here. I like to think that it being post-production me is the same as it being not post-production me, if that makes any sense. In fact, now that I remember doing this stage, I think you might be happy that it's post-production me, because I died here a lot. Like, it's unfathomable how much I died in this stage. It was it was something spectacular almost. Oopsie, alright, well, don't you worry about that, because I was referring mostly to fall damage anyway. And that did not waste any time. So let's keep at it. This video is going to be a little bit longer than it needs to be, specifically because this is a pretty short series, with the exception of the last episode for reasons you will understand in the future. But most episodes in this series kind of end up being really, really short. Just die! Oh my goodness. Okay. See that little one in that window there? It took me a little while to figure out if you just run into it, you can walk in and get that wonderful little berry. I had been trying to jump into it in the first episode for the longest time. I think I spent a good 2 minutes trying to do that. Oh, I don't think I've ever seen that one down there. Convenient knowledge. If you're wondering why I do this a lot, the little circular motion, if you remember when I was talking about the whole momentum thing, that is actually one way to circumvent the momentum problem. Because momentum doesn't stop traveling, all you have to do is redirect it. And so you're going to see me doing that an awful lot, but it's okay. It's actually what makes the game so much more fun. It's not nearly as linear as it needs to be. That's also why the controls usually feel slippery, is because we're not used to having to jump around using this approach, but it's oddly fitting for this game. I'm not sure why. I don't have any depth perception. I don't know. With the lack of depth perception, I don't know what's gonna hit them and what is not. Our concerns are real. I've been playing this game for so long now. You'd think I would know. Well, how would you know how long I've been playing? You haven't been there. Not yet, anyway, but hopefully you will be. You know, that's something we all strive for. I almost allowed the momentum to do me dirty there. We just slapped him with a leaf. Alright. I don't think these can hurt you, by the way. I've been trying to die to them. I think they're just cosmetic. This is what I mean when I say you could zoom out really far away. And it's a really good way to check if you've missed anything. I avoided taking those two berries right there because it's dangerous and we want to avoid it. And like I said, we don't want to end up dying. But do take heed of how big this backpack becomes as you start gathering everything. And we're just about done with the stage. This here is the final stretch. And one of the things I mentioned in the first episode that I think is still relevant to this point is it's very nice of them to have added these little bushes here to the sides, because it's kind of hard to gauge where you are on the, well, because you can't control the camera, so it's hard to gauge where you are on the path. But as long as you're about to fall, the bushes here rustle a little bit, which lets you know you're veering a little too far in one direction. And there we go. With these ones here, you want to be, they will always take you in the direction of your momentum. So if you're still going up, they'll keep carrying you up, and if you're on the way down, you will be carried down. They cannot carry you up when you're on the way up. So that's the end of that one. I will now have to catch you guys in a moment. And we're back. Okay, sorry about that. I wanted to avoid showing you any of the extra stuff in the game, so I had to run and hide here behind the house next to this tree where you couldn't see anything. Okay? So I really hope you enjoyed episode 1, and this is just the beginning of the series, but I assure you there's a lot of fun stuff to be had. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in episode 2, where we cut back to me of the past. Have a nice one.